Good morning and welcome to Sunrise this beautiful Saturday morning. Now, my name is Nell Taigbe, and yes, I'm alone on the show today. Alero couldn't make it, but she'll be here same time next week. But talking about being here and being there as well, this entire week has been very exciting. Across the country, have we have Nigerian citizens on the roads through the night talking about demanding for reforms, calling on government to do things differently, asking that things be changed, asking for reforms, for restructuring, for end of the word is hashtag #EndSARS. And but beyond that, it's about the fact that some have said it's the birth of a new nation. It's the birth of a new thing in Nigeria. Where have you been? What have you been doing? But today we all woke up to find out that Lagos is on lockdown, not by the citizens of Nigeria asking for change, but by an accident that happened around the Otedola bridge. Well, I'm sure our producers will let us see a bit of the footage of that accident. It caused a traffic build-up that actually, the accident happened at around 2 a.m. Two tankers collided and there was an explosion. Yeah, that's what you have there. So it was a major fire just before or around the Otedola Bridge area. But I understand that as we speak, the fire is out and the officials are working to clear out that area to remove the wreckage from the bridge and then to open up the road for vehicular movement. But one of the things that usually I wonder sometimes is why on the other side of the road that people could be moving, they'll rather park and stay to watch what's happening. And that could be dangerous because should anything go wrong, should anything go wrong, let me put it that way, then it will get to the other side of the bridge and pandemonium again. So please, when you see this kind of things, take a look and move, especially when you see that there are officials there working to clear out the place. It happened at around 2 a.m. and as we speak, they are clearing out the wreckage so that the road can be opened up again for vehicular movement. I'm very sure in the course of the week also, integrity tests will be done on that portion of the bridge to know what the situation is exactly. But we've had these conversations over and over again, why and how quickly we can get tanker, petroleum product-bearing vehicles to stop using that bridge because it appears that there's almost always an accident on that part of the road, quite often. So what would it take to minimize or stop accidents on that part of the road? What would it take? These are some of the questions that officials will need to, the authorities will need to look into and provide answers to. So while the agitations are going on around for the enforcement of human rights, to ensure that justice is given to those who need justice, to ensure that those who have done wrong are punished, to ensure that there's consequence management system, those who do wrong are punished, those who do right are rewarded. We should also think about how we all can be a part of the new Nigeria, contributing to a better nation for all of us. So that happened this morning and it's being cleared out. So please be advised, if you mustn't go out, please don't go out. And if you must go out, also think about the other people on the road so that you're not adding to the problem. Instead, let's all work at being the solution to whatever challenges that we might be seeing around us. So welcome to the show. We will take a moment and we will be back. But just know that you can be a part of a conversation. Our Twitter handles and email will be on the screen. Tweet at us, send us a mail, and we'll take it up from there. So we start off the conversation this morning with a look at the agitations across the country by Nigerians, young and old, from different walks of life, who are asking for a change in the system. It's been almost about 10 days thereabouts since Nigerians took to the streets to vent their anger on police brutality and a call on the government to end the federal and special anti-robbery squad. Now, although the government has heeded that cry for the end of SARS, with the introduction of a new tactical squad called Special Weapons and Tactics, SWAT, Yet Nigerians continue to scream and call out for an end, even to SWAT. For them, it's more than a change of name. They issued a 5-point demand to the government. They say it's not just about the change of name. It's about a holistic reform. Well, government's also gone on to take certain decisions as well. The National Economic Council also had a meeting where they talked about what to do with a directive to the state governments to set up judicial panels of inquiry to look into police brutality in all the states. Also for the state governments to take charge of and supervise the new tactical unit. Well, there's been all manner of reactions to that as well. So at the end of the day, Nigerians are asking for change. How quickly would that change be seen? Because they insist they need to see it. It's not just about the talking. Well, hold on. I'm not the one to do all the talking. Well, to help me look at all of this, we have in the studio Prince Tunde Akindele, who's the chairman of the Jedediah Leadership Institute. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And joining us via Skype, we have Onyekachi Adekoya, who is a security consultant. Thank you for joining us, Onyekachi.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Okay, let me start with you, Prince Akindele. This, what was your thinking when you saw and heard about the agitations of Nigerians for the end of SARS?
Thank you very much, Neota. It's a situation that has, its time has come. It's a situation that its time has come. And, we are talking about the youths here. We are talking about their future. Right? Men who are ruling today are people my age or beyond. Right? I can tell you as I'm sitting here that out of every 10 friends I had when I was in the university, about 7 or 8 of them are no more. So whatever we do now, whatever the government does now, or or people in governance do now, whatever they put in place, is not for them. It's for the people who are for the youths. Who is there tomorrow is what is in question. So if they have finally said, hey, we need to take our future seriously, we can't see any way forward, looking at the various government policies, let us have a conversation. Then this is where we are. Now, they have come out and said, okay, look, SARS, they are taking the first step with SARS. SARS was created in 1992, I think, as a part of the criminal body of the police. It was supposed to be a special unit with covert operations, trying to ensure that they monitor the kidnappers, the armed robbers, the people who were causing various social anomalies. But over time, they became human rights abusers. The people who were supposed to protect the nation and the people now turned against the people. They're now kidnapping them, harassing them, brutalizing them, and having a covert operation. It's not one that you see on the road or carrying guns and meeting people all over the place. So rather than face the armed robbers, rather than face the kidnappers, rather than face the people who are causing problems, security problems in the nation, they are now facing the people they are supposed to protect. And it's gone to a head. This is where we are. Hey, Nota, I'm 72 plus. Anything I do, if I was in government, whatever I do today, it's not about me, it's about them. And they can't see any future in what the government is doing for them. So they say, well, let us have a conversation.
Okay, while we wait, we'll come back to you to look at this matter of having the conversation. In having the conversation, how do we go about having that conversation? Who sits at the table, and what will be the agenda to look at? But let me get to you. When you catch you, you are younger. I mean, Prince Adeleke has told us he's 72 plus. You are much, much younger
Yes.
than that, and you are, if permit me to say, you are amongst the youth who will be out there. There are many your age who are out there who are demanding for this change. But why are you not out there?
Obviously, I can't be in two places at the same time. I am here with you. Obviously, I can't be there.
Okay.
But I do think that the matters on hand or at hand goes beyond any strata or age classification, perhaps creed, belief system, as we have seen. So the issues are the issues of governance. The issues are the issues of a clamor for social justice. And of course, without social justice, you cannot have or build on social order. So I think that people are speaking from the heart. The protest is faceless, as we say, but not nameless because they have what they're clamoring for. So there's no one person leading the group. And it's instructive to also know that these are issues of the heart, really. And I do hope that those in authority are listening as the people clamor.
When you say the fact that it's sort of like faceless, and there seems to be someone said it's uncoordinated coordination. Does that in any way speak for the agitations and the demands?
Well, so this puts government in a bit of a bind. So the known tactics of dealing with protests, fortunately, it has not devolved into a riot yet. It's still a protest for now, a peaceful protest. The known means of dealing with such movements by government, I mean, has been proven to be useless. Because before now, you know the leaders, you know the faces of the agitation. You can try and divide and rule, intimidate, arrest, and shake them up a bit. But now, even if you take out a files or a video, the people will still be on the streets. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago, I saw that the people in Abuja kind of asked Mr. Shore to step aside so they can have their own agitation without any extra bias. So it is what it is, basically. It's a movement, a mass movement of the people. And I've said in different platforms that the government is behind the curve a bit. Government lost initiative when this protest started. They failed to show empathy. They failed to show connection and understanding. They showed to even handle this matter properly. And so because of that, the protest has moved beyond governance and government. It's taking a life of its own. And we are almost nearing a cliff edge because government has very little it can do to manage the situation right now. Okay, so I think those are the bigger issues. So what we'll see in the coming days is government has to dance to the music of the protesters because they lost initiative much earlier in the day.
Okay, we'll take a moment when we come back. Prince Adeleke, we'll look at the question of leadership and governance and nation building, because there's this school of thought that believes that what these Nigerians are doing on the streets is not helping the nation in any way. That's what they say. But the Nigerians are saying what we're doing, what we're asking for is for the good of the nation. But we'll look at that when we'll come back from this break. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We say this is the fight for the soul of Nigeria, and we're looking at beyond this fight, what next? What are the structures that should be in place? Who's listening? Who's planning? For while Nigerians are on the roads across the country and beyond Nigeria, there are those who are sitting behind the desk and should be thinking and structuring and planning. What should they be looking at? We have Prince Tunde Akindele here in Lagos, in our studio here in Lagos, and Onyekache Dekoya, security consultant, who joins us via Skype. So, gentlemen, Prince Akindele, so we've seen that the Nigerians are out there. They are demanding for what they say is justice. I mean, you heard some of them who in that report talk about justice, not just in terms of words, but in terms of action. But is it the right thing to be demanding for? Because if you say end SARS, SARS has been scrapped. SWAT was brought in, they said end SWAT, we don't even want SWAT. So what are the demands that the Nigerians are asking for? They are right. Do you agree?
Yes, sir. In order, they are talking about their future and their heritage, which is totally, at the moment, they can't see any future. If the worst mistake the government and the people in governance can make is to see these young men and women as grandstanding against the government. The biggest mistake the government can make is to see them as grandstanding against the government. Then their attitude and our approach to a dialogue to move Nigeria forward will be lost in the process. The people look, whatever is happening in the nation today was not created by Buhari's government. It's a systemic problem that we have. The inequalities, the hardship we are facing, the economic mess we are in, is a part of a system. And those who are in government today are a slave to that system. And except they go out of the box to converse, to have a conversation with these youth who know what they are doing. Hey, these are brilliant chaps who went to university, who went abroad, who went everywhere. Most of them haven't got any source of employment. They can't see a future. You are going, maybe another 20, 30 years at most, you are gone. They have the world ahead of them. Their children are coming up. They have the world ahead of them. Now, when you now ensure that the whole thing that should make for their joy and their pleasure is ruined, where do they go from? So they are fighting for their lives. They are fighting for their future. Now, let me put it this way. They have to start from somewhere. I do not know, and out of every 10 Nigerians today, 8 will tell you that they face police brutality at one stage or the other. Not even just SARS, but SARS situation is even worse.
But what do you expect? There are those who would also argue that the policemen are also brutalized themselves.
Wait a minute. Who brutalizes them? Like I said to you, it's a systemic problem. The police themselves are frustrated. Most of them, their salaries can't take them anywhere. They go on the road. Most of them have to report back to those people who put them on these assignments. So, what do they do? So, it's a chicken and egg situation. What do they do? So, the issue today is people who are meant to defend us, people who are meant to protect us, have turned against us, and they are killing us. The ones they are supposed to kill, we are not hearing anything about them anymore. They are extorting us. Where do we go from here? Let me put this on the table. The Inspector General of Police said, yes, we have disbanded SARS. Within 2 days, is created another body called
SWAT.
SWAT.
But then you don't expect a vacuum.
How do you mean vacuum, Neota? How do you mean vacuum? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Hey, it's a great idea for the nation to have thought out a process, to have thought out, to come up with the initiative to have these SARS people, right, to have an organization like that. That is a beautiful initiative, right? But what happened? What has happened with execution? How did they now become what they became? So, if they have not met the expectations of the police force, and now you want to disband them, then the next thing to say is, look, hey, it's a great idea to have anti-robbery team. Where have we gone wrong? So come up with a SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis, not a SWAT team.
No, a SWOT analysis. First come out with a SWOT analysis and get people to come in there. Where have we gone wrong? Where have we missed the road? Is it in the choice or level of the people we employed? Is it in our interview or whatever it is, process? Is it in our training? Is it in our monitoring? Where have we gone wrong? So what's the strength? What are the weaknesses of this system that you are disbanding? What are the opportunities of this system if it was done the way it should be done? And what threats have they posed to the nation? When you have fully evaluated this, then you now go back to the drawing table and say, well, this is where we went wrong here. These are the things we need to put in place from day one until we have another team to come on board. But when you say, oh, it happens today, you say you disband today, what have you put in place that is going to be any different from the one that has failed us?
Onyekachi, this matter of the chicken and the egg situation, I was going to take Prince Akindele on as regards when he was born in 1958. Someone talked about the kind of policing training that the police got from 1953. He says the training they got was more or less a combative kind of training, more of reactionary. And then since then, they've not really gotten any other training that is preventive. The curriculum still has that combative kind of, it's more like combative. So they need to go back to the process of retraining everyone to be preventive instead of reactionary. But you are a security consultant. Do you agree with that notion that the process, indeed, we have to do a reorientation of everyone in security and in governance to be more of preventive than reactionary?
Well, thank you for the question, Nyota. I also have some thoughts to share. I hope I don't lose sight of it. First, beyond being a security consultant, I lead an organization where we have almost 2,000 people in employment in private security. I'm also the provost marshal for the Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria. When Prince was talking, he was talking about how sophisticated the youths of today are. And on a lighter note, the people governing Nigeria, some of them are older than Nigeria as an entity. So you can understand when there's a seeming disconnect between what the expectations of the youths of today are and, as against what our fathers think it should be. Every Nigerian youth has within him the Nigerian spirit. And as a society, we are very aspirational. We are very competitive. We do not see ourselves as being less or lower than any person, whether they be in America or in the UK or in South Africa. So I think that the youth of this nation feel let down by leadership. Again, maybe we are living on ideas whose times have passed. When you look at the police curriculum, and when you talk about 1950, 53, 58 to 2020, I mean, that's almost a lifetime. That's a lifetime, basically. The issues with the police are well documented. The issues with the Nigerian security architecture, though the word architecture is badly abused, is well documented. And I don't think we want to sit down here now and begin to x-ray some of these issues, which I've been on several platforms talking about. We are running a federated police structure, okay, which comes with its own challenges. The 2021 budget, as it stands today, 5.6 trillion thereabouts, would almost go into recurrent expenditure. We have a far bloated National Assembly structure, so a legislative structure, when you look at the federal, state, and even down to the local government. So as a government, we are not efficient. One time it was in this country where the government feels it has to be the major and the most employer of labor. And so government went into setup of several MPAs and parastatals, which with due respect are outrightly useless. So we have bloated budgets. Resource allocation is not very efficiently done. There are a lot of wastages in the system. Security, without which you cannot have economic development or prosperity, is now left to suffer. As a matter of fact, we have a funny mindset in the country. People think security lasts. A man wants to build a 15 billion naira structure. The last thing on his mind is security. And you build a 15 billion naira structure, you want to pay your guards 18,000 naira to protect your 15 billion naira structure. So that shows you the mindset of the society we live in. So there are a number of challenges, and I don't think we can completely exhaust those challenges in one meeting. But I want to make a point to say, what should government begin to do now? We will talk about the solutions later, but what must begin to happen now so that we can manage the situation? I have shared a post. I think I copied the governor, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the governor of Oyo State, Mr. Seyi Makinde, His Excellency, to say, listen, these are youths, connect with them, create a protest ground for them, provide good sound, get beverage companies to provide drinks, give them space. The youth wants to vent, allow them within a space that is safe and secure. Number one. Two, provide security. It is, the right to protest is enshrined in the Constitution. Provide security. Let the people see that security is on their side and the security infrastructure is for them. Number three, at those protest grounds, provide a tent, a meeting room. And I dare say, the governors of the respective states may have to report to those protest grounds every day and give situational updates. Because when we had the COVID-19, we of course had the COVID-19 fear, global health pandemic with us in Nigeria, you had a daily briefing by the Presidential Task Force. These youths also require some form of daily briefing on what is being done. These protests will maybe peter out at some point, but I don't think it's going anywhere without concrete and clear resolutions and takeaways and agreements which are honest on both parties. So government needs to find a way to get...
The question there will be, for this daily your briefings you're talking about, some of the demands of the Nigerians out there have to be from the federal structure. Some of their demands cannot be handled by the state government. One of the state governors were reacting on media saying, how do you expect me to monitor or supervise a police infrastructure I do not have control over? So how would we be expecting the government to be briefing the Nigerians that are on the street about something that they don't have an input in?
Good question, Yota. I think the chicken has come home to roost. When the governors were playing politics with our federal structure, when they sat conveniently and overlooked certain things, they never envisaged a day like this. I dare say that the president himself was being prophetic when he said a day is coming when the youth in Nigeria will rise and demand and ask tough questions of leadership. So if you fail to do what you have to do in the morning, perhaps it comes back to bite you in the evening. So the governors sit down there in the Federal Executive Council meeting. They are, in fact, in our case, APC is in power. The party in the center is also APC. I'm sure they have their APC Governors Forum. They have different platforms where they can sit down to meet. So it's time for the governors to sit down and have difficult and sincere conversations with the federal government. Now, I also want to point out something. We talk about the federal government and the state government. We almost let the local government chairman off the hook. The local government chairman and the local government structure is the third tier within the federal executive structure, or within the executive structure, that is supposed to provide governance. And we are, nobody's talking about the local government chairman at this time. They collect allocation. They share the allocation without doing much in most parts of the north, with due respect to all of them. I served in the north, I schooled in the north. And most local governments, you don't see anybody until month end when they have to share allocation. So we have refused to provide governance in some parts of Nigeria, and people have having to fend for themselves. When you look at the issue of security, you look at space, spaces, and place. Now, because of the fact that governance is far from the people in most parts of the north, that's why you're finding this insurgency and armed banditry rearing its ugly head up. So the local governments, the state, and the federal government have to come back and sit down. There are over 68 items on the exclusive list of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's time to have those conversations. And these conversations must be had in a very sincere, open, and frank, honest manner. So the chicken has come home to roost. We are doing what we should have done first last. Unfortunately, we are here now. We need to manage the situation so that it doesn't snowball into something bigger. So those daily briefing rooms, yes, I'm talking to the federal government. This is happening. This is happening. These are your demands. This is where we are. So it has to continue, because what we run a risk of is that you protesters talked about a 5/5 demand. Now they are saying the other SARS is the Senate and rep salary. Now they are beginning to talk about restructuring. They are beginning to talk about so many things. So it's going to be a bit difficult if we don't set a proper narrative to what is happening currently. It may snowball, and that's bigger risk here.
Okay, there's some tweets that have come in here. Paul Playdero says, how come those who ruled Nigeria before I was born are still ruling after my children were born? Ujiagbe says, after SARS, we have a serious discussion on the sustainability or not of the current centralized structure of the police. Is it time to decentralize the police? As Ujiagbe. Akabom Enebong says, it is well and good to agitate for the scrapping of SARS and other reforms. The youth should be counseled against engaging in cultism, kidnapping, cybercrime, and other such acts that do not portray them in good light. Wasborn says, some days back, I was held up on the Lekki-Ikoyi Bridge for 6 hours because of the protest. I still support the protest. The country is in a mess. The government has to sit up, look at the tanker accidents, bad roads, insecurity, corruption, etc. We deserve better. Folawiyo says, for there to be a discussion between the youth and the federal and Mbari, it should be through a press debate, not conference on national and international TVs. And any youth seeing this, he says, let's retweet and call out the government. Then Tunde Aragumati says, the last one before we go on a quick break, says the youth-led End SARS protests are the best organized series of advocacy activities ever in Nigeria, with overwhelming support from the population. Change is here to stay. We, the old guard, must step back and help to follow through to the restructuring of Nigeria. We'll look at the other ones when we'll come back from this break. What is the way forward? The low-hanging fruit. Government has said they're putting some things together. State government should take charge of certain infrastructure, but even the state governments are already reacting to some of these things that they've been asked to do, while some have started putting out inquiries, panels of inquiry, but at the end of the day, what will be the solution? We'll look at all of this when we'll come back from this break. Just stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Agitations across the nation for reform of different infrastructure. Nigerians have been on the road. Yesterday, they had a candlelight procession in different parts of the country for those who've lost their lives to rights abuses, to security operatives, and the SARS group and all of that, to police brutality, as I say. But Paul Play says, he said, I've always said that the revolution will not have a leader. Revolution comes when every breathing Homo sapien is tired. Festus Akimboewa says, the culture of returns is deep-rooted in our police. But can we really have a strong, well-funded police when we don't have a strong economy? Onoja, the protesting youth in the South have submitted list of people killed by SARS, but no list from the North. What is making this difference? Prince,
Yes.
Some have said this is the revolution that has been talked about over and over again. And at one time, the president, and Onyekachi actually alluded to that when he said, the president at one time actually said the youth will rise up one day to ask us, the leadership, what we're doing to better their lives. As a former senator in the House, in Nigerian Senate, Dino Melaya was quoted, and there's a video in circulation where he said, before the youth arise to question us how we're leading this nation, we need to do something about it. Now, these are different fora, different individuals. Even in some organizations, religious organizations, they've also spoken about the fact that the youth, the Nigerians, will one day rise up and say, enough is enough. Is that what we're seeing now?
Yes, Nota. What else are we seeing? About 70 to 80%, I would say, some say 60 to 70%, of the Nigerian population, the population of Nigeria, are the youths. Whatever is happening in Nigeria today is about them. If the nation has been mismanaged over time, and now we are getting to a situation whereby the only source of our income is also being affected by global situation. And COVID-19 is doing what it can do. Where do we go from here? We have to look inward for better management of whatever scarce resource we have. Let me say something to you. What is the ratio of the income of the people who are in governance to people who earn the minimum wage? When things are not bright in a home, you have to say, well, look, hey, my sons and daughters, please come. Things are not the way they used to be. How do we reduce or manage our appetite and just do that which is needed?
That is in the home. Is that the situation in the country?
No. I'm just telling you, I'm not coming back to the country.
Okay.
The senators, I will just use the senators just as an example. They are not the ones who created this. It's a system. Like I told you, the first thing I said is, it's a systemic problem that we have. Why would any government at any one time have given a salary, a monthly salary, no, not salary, total take home to a senator of 14.2 or 14 point something million naira a month? And now the same nation is crying that we cannot pay 30,000 to people who are on minimum wages, who are going to the same market to buy food. What is the ratio? In America, the minimum wage, the federal minimum wage, is about 14,000 something. The senators, their take home is $174,000 plus dollars. That is about 14% or at times higher than what the minimum wage is. What is 14.2 million monthly salary or minimal the take home of a senator, right? What ratio is it to the minimum wage that even some states cannot pay of 30,000? The president of the wealthiest and the most of the richest nation on earth is on $400,000. And then for his expenses and to dry clean for his wife, whatever it is, an emolument of $50,000. He takes home $450,000. When you want to calculate that by way of ratio to 14.5, it is very infinitesimal. Sorry, I don't have my this now, but I quickly have shown you that, hey, this is not on. But this is not created by the people who are currently there. It's a system that they inherited and they are benefiting from. Now that we now need to speak the truth to ourselves, isn't it about high time we look at these things? If you don't want problem? Now, there are so many problems. The problems are endemic. And they are beyond what even our people of our age and this can handle, because we have a problem. What's our problem? We are not genuine citizens. We are not genuine patriots. And what do I mean by that? If I get to a position today, it's not about Nigeria. It's not about Nigerian who can come and work with me, who has the know-how. It's about people from my village or people from my tribe. If not that, we are religious bigots. So the nation that we should love, the nation that we should defend, to ensure that we put the best people in the best place at any time T, to ensure that we get maximum return, right? We don't love it. These young ones are the real citizens of Nigeria. They don't care whether you are Igbo, they don't care whether you are Hausa or Fulani or you are Yoruba, right? They gel at intellectual and social levels. And to disregard what they are saying and see, I saw some people carrying placard talking about the police. Look, a man who has been in the police force, says a graduate for 17 years and says earning 60,000. Hey, bro, listen. Naira a month. His colleague who probably left school and went to politics and now is in the House of Senate, whatever it is earning 14 point something million in a month. How do you think that man will be happy? That is why they begin to profile, the police begin to profile the youths unnecessarily. If they see you driving a big car, you become their enemy. They want to deal with you. They see your wristwatch, it's an expensive one, they want to deal with you. They say your work. How do you profile somebody and then be able to detect his character from his appearance? These are the problems we have. But let us go back, because otherwise the problems are numerous. But let's go back to the issue of SARS. Now, if you say you smacked SARS, you cannot yet form. You can't form another body yet until you have been able to identify what the problems that SARS as a body had. What led to what they became. When you have identified that, you talk about security. Hey, these guys who are on the road today, do you think it's anybody funding them for personal interest? You must be joking. They are doing crowdfunding. People are sending money to them to crowdfunding to be able to sustain them. That is why they can reject whatever any governor or anybody gives to them. And the war they are fighting is not the battle front where they are on. I think their weapon is not, hey, we go and carry stick, we go and carry gun, we face police. No. Their weapon is their phone. They are fighting you on terrestrial space in the digital space. They are using the airwave that travels to all over the world. There's something you do to them there that within 2 minutes, the entire world doesn't see. So there's no hiding place to say you will deal with them.
So what should be the next line of
action?
The
next line of action is that, one, the IG should just stop what he wants to do. It's for his own interest as well. And gather people who are in security, who even know what modern security gadgets are used in other places.
What about the legislature, the politicians?
Well,
because they've really not said anything.
Well, between you and I, the IG reports, I'm told, to the president. Right? All of these things you see, there are so many things that are on top of one another. The ones you have started with, let's first deal with that. Now, when I talked about the ratio of the salaries of the senators, I'm not blaming the senators who are there. That is what they meant. But they must have a conscience to say that, hey, bro, let us sit down together. It cannot go on this way. How will my brother, who went to the same university with me, who was rather better than I in college, who is in the police force, be earning 50,000 naira, 60,000 naira after 17 years? And I'm sitting here in comfort, going home with 14.2 million.
After 2 months.
Every month.
No, after 2 months of electioneering.
So, where do we come from? Many things are wrong. Now, and the dangerous thing today about this particular protest, why it is so different from any other one, is that the entire world is saying what they are doing, minute by minute basis. And they will have sympathy. Even people who want to loan, with whom want to take loan now to be able to do whatever it is, if you brutalize these chaps, they will withhold their money. Amnesty International is watching, reporting. So it is better for the government to know, and I say this word, to not look at these guys as grandstanding against you. They are grandstanding against a system where you are a slave.
Okay. Abdul Rashid Lawal says, let the protesters be recognized as a community assembly and an arm of government that will raise motions for National Assembly to adopt for the president to sign into law. Until all pertinent issues are passed into laws, the community assembly should remain. That's from Abdul Rashid Lawal. Prof. Elakena says, the trust between the government and the governed is glaring now. Government at all levels are culpable for these economic disheveled policies that deliberately impoverished the citizenry. Government must fulfill its obligations to the people by enacting economic empowerment programs. That's coming from Professor Enakina. Tunde Arogomat says, immediate next step to end SARS and reform the Nigeria police is a total overhaul of leadership. In the template below, the ex-president of Georgia explains how he restored public trust and beat corruption via comprehensive transformational police reforms. Quite a number of suggestions are coming in here. But Onyekachi, low-hanging fruits, solutions, as we begin to wind down.
Thank you, Nyota. I think I'm a bit sober right now, so we're trying to elevate the conversation a bit. I don't think the issues are the issues of senators or salaries or some of these other things that are disturbing us. We must set our problem in proper context. This country has over 140 million youths. The youths, 70% of the population. About 40% of those youths are jobless. And they suffer from one form of traumatic or psychological problem or the other. Because some people come out of school 4 or 5 years, they don't have a job, and the person begins to think, is there something wrong with me? It takes about the same number of years to get into university. To get called up for youth service takes another 2 years. So by the time the man graduates and is out of school at age 30, he's lost time. His colleagues in the UK have become directors. So let's set that in a bit of a context. To be fair to this government, the government projects to spend about 1.5 trillion naira on issues of human security. about 800 and something billion on defense, 400 and something billion on Ministry of Police Affairs, about 500 and something billion on education, and about 300 and something billion on health, following in pursuit of the 2019 National Security Strategy. So on paper, we can see some policy direction. But the problem we always have in Nigeria is a problem of execution and implementation. Beyond this, I think the issue has gone far above our usual way of handling matters. When the IGP, within 2 days, announced a new formation called SWAT, I think it was a bit rushed, with due respect to the IGP, because we don't even have, as a nation now, the resources to properly equip a SWAT unit that would have to function across the 36 states of the country. We have not been able to thoroughly equip the military and provide them all that they need. Then we are talking about SWAT. SWAT is far above SARS in terms of logistical requirements, munition, kitting, the level of training, certification of training, retraining, weapons handling training, special forces training. You can't just, within 2 days, set up SWAT. So you see, we are putting the cart before the horse again. Inflation is about 13.8%. Currently, as we speak, the 2021 budget, we're looking at almost 40% deficit. Debt to GDP is currently about 3.5. But if you look at debt to revenue, it's about 40%, thereabout. And we have to fend and take care of 140 million people. Yet, we have a lot of resources locked within us as a country. But the way the federal and federation is set up, the 68 items on the exclusive list has to be unlocked because you need to fend for more people. Nigeria is quite diverse now, and we need to begin to look at the bigger problem before us. So let me round up by saying quick wins and way forward. I like to say this country belongs to all of us, and we will continue. I feel that they should continue to be peaceful. We all continue to be peaceful. And we must ensure collectively that this doesn't turn into a riot, because Nigeria is projected to go into a second recession. COVID-19 has dealt a blow in the economy. We can't afford to grind this economy again to a halt. The problems will take us another 5-10 years to recover. But that said, the agitation, as people feel, may continue, but we must also know that both sides have a lot at stake, which is why I'm proposing that government must come to the youths and to the protesters, set up that daily briefing. The main issues that the agitators are clamoring for, find honest and sincere ways to address it, create a roadmap, set milestones, let parties be signed to it. We don't have up to 1.5 billion security forces to confront 140 million Nigerian youths. So, except we want to go into a massacre, which I know nobody wants, dialogue is the only way forward. Sincere, honest dialogue is the way forward. And this situation must be managed. And I'm calling on everybody who means well for this country. We must all come down from our high horses and find a way forward. I think until we get this crisis out of the way, we cannot become too aspirational and lose sight of what is on ground. So the quick win is to manage this and find a way forward.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I understand we've completely run out of time. We've been speaking with Prince Tunde Akindele, who's the chairman of the Judicial Leadership Institute. Thank you for sharing this morning with us. We also had Onyekachi Adekora, a security consultant, who joined us via Skype. Thank you, gentlemen. This morning has been very, very fruitful indeed. Thank you.